There are so many videos about the 482 English changes. However, I want to give you the whole picture to let you know what are the exemptions for 482. What is the English requirement for 494 and 186, both TRT and DE? And what is the English requirement for the DAMA, the labor agreement, and see where you can fit in, which English you can acquire, and also find out how 482's English is different from the other 186 or 494 or DAMA English requirement. And I also touch on the training visa English as well. Let's get the 482's details out first. The change is that now for 482, tests taken after 13th of September 2025, the individual can reset for a certain test component if they haven't met that particular test components, but that's only allowed on IELTS 1 skill retake and MET SSR. And also the validity date remains 3 years for tests taken before or after 13th of September for 482. And now the score is, if you sat for the PTE on or after 13th of September, these are the scores highlighted by yellow color. Remember, it used to be 36 on each band for tests taken before the 13th of September, and now there's no overall score. You need to get each band, and that's the score. Now let's talk about the exemptions available for 482. If you are from one of these countries, you get exempted. If you have finished 5 years of full-time study in a secondary level institute where most classes were in English, again you are exempted, but you need to provide these details: name, location, level of qualification, and official transcript, number of hours per week in English, and years of study. The next exemption is if your occupation requires you to hold a license, registration, and membership, and the requirement to provide English for these 3 things is equal or higher English than what 482 requires for. Last but not the least, if you are employed by an overseas business who have an associated entity in Australia, and if you are given a salary of $96,400, then again you are exempted to provide English for 482. Now comparing all the visa subclasses, 482 is 5 each band, which is vocational English. And for 494 and 186 TRT and DE, it's competent English, meaning 6 each band on IELTS, and that equates to 47 in listening, 48 in reading, 51 in writing, and 54 in speaking for 494 and 186. However, if you can apply for these 2 visas under DAMA, the Designated Area Migration Agreement, then your occupation might. Not all of the occupations will, and not all of the states DAMA will give English concession, but you need to check which occupation you're in and which DAMA your state falls under. Then you can get further English concession. Now I'll show you how to look for it. And even for 482, it has been announced that the English will be different according to the labor agreement, according to the DAMA. To take the advantage of DAMA's English concession, your employer must be located within one of the 13 available DAMA areas. If they are, then you can go into that particular DAMA and see if your occupation has English concession or not. Here I have South Australian DAMA, and I've entered the occupation chef, and as you scroll down, you'll see that there are different type of English concessions available. So you need to see which one you can meet. Now, training visa has its own set of unique requirements. For training visa, it's functional English, and if you are from one of those countries on the first bullet point, you don't need to provide one. For study evidence, you need to provide 3 years of secondary and all of primary, or 5 years of secondary education. Or if you've studied 1 year of full-time study in Australia for a degree, higher degree diploma, or associated diploma, 1 year full-time or part-time, then also you do not need to sit for an English test for 407 visa. Now moving on, tests taken from 7th of August and onwards needs to be 4.5 for IELTS, or for PTE it's 24. Overall score will do. And the test score that was taken before the 7th of August, a total band of 30 score at least. One more thing, the validity has changed. Test taken on or after 7th of August is for 3 years, and test taken before 6th of August is as usual 12 months.